Hey, how y'all doing? This is Hunt 919 Truth of Sports coming to you with another segment. So I want to go ahead and get right into it. This is one of the segments that I do is was it worth the transfer? And this time I normally do Colorado players, and a lot of people actually like that. I get a lot of feedback from that. But one person in the comments asked me to um, do this for random or different people that's not Colorado football players to see how they actually fared in the transfer portal. So what I did was I took 10 random names. Um, I tried to make sure there was around average type players, and I went through the process and see how they where they started, where they transferred to, and how they ended up doing overall. Excuse me. So let's go ahead and get right into it. The first guy I found was Jamil Burrows. He entered the portal on 8/30/2023. He transferred from Alabama to Miami. He's at Miami, but he has no stats for the 2024 year. I don't know if he sat out or whatever, but whatever happened, didn't work out for him. No stats for 2024. The second guy that I did a study on or research on was Jamari Brown. Um, he actually transferred in the portal from Purdue to Mississippi State, but after looking him up, he actually started at Kentucky where he was a three-star cornerback. So he started at Kentucky in 2019. So from 2019 to 2020, he played at Kentucky. Then he transferred to Purdue from 2021 to 2022. He entered the portal again in 8/22/2023, and he transferred to Mississippi State. So looking back over his career, his best career of his life was in 2021 at Purdue, where he had 32 tackles, 25 solo tackles, 7 assisted tackles, 7 passes defended, 1 sack, and 3 forced fumbles. And in 2023, where he was just at, he was at Mississippi State. He finished his career with 1 tackle, 1 solo tackle for the year, and that was it. His last year was his worst year, and he ended up, playing at 3 schools, and it didn't help his career at all. So those transfers didn't help him. He actually got worse when he transferred. Number three, a guy named Ty Harris, a 6'5" edge rusher. On 8/23/2023, he entered the portal. He was at Washington State for 3 seasons. His last college stats which was in 2022. Um, and so I don't know what happened to him after that. He kind of disappeared. I don't know if he got picked up. So overlooking the total of his career, the most tackles he had was in 2020, and he had two, and he basically disappeared once he went into the portal. I don't know what happened to him. Could not find him at all after that. Number four is a guy named Alex, and I won't mess up his last name, Peit. SCH. He was a long snapper. He went into the portal on 8/22/2023. He started at Notre Dame. He has no stats for 2024. It looks like he went into the portal. Nobody, no, no team picked him up. I couldn't find him anywhere through all the research that I did. So there was another guy that disappeared. Number five, a guy named Colin Sullivan, a 6'2" wide receiver who started at Purdue. He entered the portal on 8/23/2023. He ended up at a school called Houston Christian, which is a Division I football subdivision, the FCS school. He actually had his best football year with 11 receptions, 141 yards, an average of 12.8 yards per catch. He never scored a touchdown. He ended up being the sixth leading receiver, even though he came from a big school. So what he did was he took a big step down in competition. He went from Purdue, which is ranked in the top 50. Most of the time, they're ranked in the top 10 in education, down to a FCS level. Yes, he played more, but education wise, he took a step down and his career is over. So, as far as I know, it's over. So, was that worth it? Another guy, number six, Victor Obi. He was a 6'5" edge rusher from Baylor. He hit the portal in 8/21/2023. He transferred to Texas State. When I did my research, a lot of players go to Texas State, so it's some type of connection to Texas State. Um, his 3 years at Baylor, the most tackles he had was six. His numbers at Texas State was six total tackles, four solo tackles, 2 assisted tackles, and 1 sack. So basically, his season was very similar to his first season in 2020, where he first started out at Baylor. So he only averaged 1 sack per year over his career. He attended 2 schools, transferred. Nothing really happened with his career. He didn't do any better. So that was the end of him. Number seven, a guy named Langston Anderson. He was a wide receiver receiver from Oklahoma State. He hit the portal in 8/21/2023. He also went to Texas State, where he finished the year with 1 reception for 27 yards and 0 touchdowns. So he went to 2 schools, took a step down in competition, basically similar numbers. Nothing got better for him at all. Number 8, a guy named Smoke Bowie. It was a cornerback that started at Georgia. He entered the portal on 8/18/2023. He was a 4-star player. I read up on him. A lot of people was very high on him. He signed with Georgia, but when you go to his stats in ESPN in 2022, they have him down as with Texas A&M, which is where he recorded 3 solo tackles, 1 assisted tackle, and 1 pass defended. In 2022, I ended up finding him at another school at Texas State, the Texas State Bobcats. Um, so it was just a lot of the times it's just when you go into the portal, it causes confusion to yourself and it causes confusion to your career. Because I found Texas State and that wasn't even in ESPN anything. I just found it on my own doing research. But he was highly touted. A lot of coaches and all these recruiting organizations really liked him, but nothing really came up from his career. So he started at Georgia. Um, they said went to Texas A&M, but I found him at Texas State. Number 9, a guy named Miles Farmer. He's a safety that entered the portal on 8/14/2023. He transferred from Nebraska to Syracuse. So he played at Nebraska from 2019 to 2022. His best year was in 2022, where he had a total of 73 tackles, 38 solo tackles, 35 assisted tackles, 4 pass defended, and 1 interception. He never recorded a sack while he was at Nebraska. He then transfers to Syracuse, where he records 21 tackles and 0 sacks. He then transfers to Appalachian State, where he records 9 tackles and 0 sacks. So he finished his career with 142 tackles, 75 solo tackles, 67 assisted tackles, and 2 forced fumbles and 4 interceptions. And he played at 3 schools, jumped around a lot. Really, his numbers never jumped. They never got any better. So I don't know. Was it worth leaving the big school like Nebraska, Syracuse and App State? Now all these are good programs. He was one of the few ones that got lucky and went to all good programs because App State is a very good program. We know about Syracuse and of course we know about Nebraska, um, but that's what he did. And then number 10 is a guy named Quan Lee. He was a 4-star player that signed with UCF. He entered the portal in 8/8/2023. Um, and I did not find any information on him at USC as far as stats or numbers, so I'm assuming he obviously signed with them, but I don't know if he actually played it down with them or for them. So it's kind of hard to tell, how that went. So what he did was he transferred to an HBCU. He transferred to Florida A&M, where he had 27 catches, 310 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So um, he figured out early that something wasn't for him, so he made a decision early. He took a step down the competition and actually recorded some stats. So, excuse me, for the most part, the transfers that I follow, all random transfers, including some of the Buffs transfers, a lot of these transfers didn't work out for the better for them. And some of them actually left very good academic institutions, I guess, to pursue them possibly playing pro, getting more time, and then going to lesser schools, or however way you want to look at it, and nothing really coming from it. So that's one thing we need to learn about the portal. And I also I did a segment on that when I gave you 15 things you need to think about or to do before you decide to go into the portal. And these are some of the things that we need to start talking to kids about before they make these moves. And I just did 10 random guys that it didn't really work out for. I did a lot of the Colorado Buffs that some of them did very well, but the majority of them either fell off or not playing as much or no numbers or it didn't do very well. And I know it's a hard decision, not judging anybody. These are just segment pieces or talkative pieces that I like to do, and it gets a lot of feedback from the channel. And from the feedback, it creates conversation. And through conversation, maybe we can figure out some good ways to help different people that's going to be in these situations. Because one day it may be your kid, it may be your grandkid, it may be a friend of the family, or it may just be somebody who looks up to you and wants your advice on this situation. So it is what it is. It's been Hunt 919 Truth or Sports. Ride with me. Non-Truth Sports. Ride with me.